Oh, again, can we look a second at projections? I know I've mentioned it a few times, and you hear in conversation, she's just projecting love, and it's just about the fact that we every single day, we project onto other people stuff that's inside us. So two examples. I think I attribute. I don't know if I think this is Abraham Lincoln. This quote was attributed to, but Abraham Lincoln's quote as remembered as having said, whether he did or not, I'm not sure. I must. I don't like that man. I must get to know him. And a number of years ago, as I said, I was in that previous job, and I was being moved from station to station, and I was going to Monaghan. I was going through Castleblaney, and the traffic was terrible. Some football match on just before the bypass even existed. This will tell you how long ago it was. And I got stuck in traffic, and the idea back then was that you had to be 20 minutes early for shift, which is just ridiculous, because if you're contracted 12-hour shifts, there's no legal requirement to be there any earlier. Anyway, I knew I was going to be late. I was going to be delayed, but I wasn't going to be late, so my shift was, say, 7:30 to start, and I arrived in at 29 minutes past 7, so I was essentially early. And a member of staff marched out of the station and proceeded to scream hurl abuse at me. I was just a fairly new member of staff, and they were hurling abuse at me, demanding that I'm always late. I've never met this person before in my life, ever. And he'd said to me, "You're always late." And I wasn't late. And how dare you do this to me, and all this sort of stuff. And it was their intense projections of whatever had been done to them in the past were just landed on me. So that's their projection stuff. So interestingly, a couple of days later, I was summoned to a meeting with management. Here he goes again with management. But I was summoned to a meeting with management, and they were about to discipline me for being late. And I was like, I'm not late. I wasn't late. I was on time. And they proceeded to say, oh, well, it's an understanding that you're there 20 minutes before your shift. And I think they were a bit shocked that someone new would be able to stand up to them and hold their ground and wasn't afraid of them, because normally people are quaking in their boots. But I've always been shy and retiring, and I've a huge experience with unions and stuff like that. So I've every confidence in handling management and dealing with management. But I was able to hold my ground and say, no, actually, no, my contracted hours are from 7:30. And they were like, well, you're going to be here, we're going to sack you and all that. You're not going to sack me. You're not going to sack me. You're going to have a hell of a job making that stick. I said, because that member of staff verbally abused me when I arrived on time for my shift. And it was actually a chief at the time who was in the meeting, and he'd said, well, that's your opinion, that's your word against theirs. Now, they are obviously as well projecting onto me, as well as possibly I'm projecting onto them from previous management interactions I've had. And they're thinking to me, we're going to put you in your box, we're going to do this, and I'm like, no, you're not going to control me. And at the end of it anyway, I won the argument, and I showed them that they were wrong. And I'd said, because they'd said it was your word against theirs, and I said it wasn't my word against them. I said it's my word, and I named 6 other people that witnessed it against them. I said, but of course you've checked your facts with those other people before you called me into this meeting. And they were just kind of frozen a little bit, and they went, oh, well, that's a different story. So do you want us to discipline him? And I was shocked. I was like, what? No. I said, the man clearly doesn't like me for some reason. Put me working with him. And they were like, what? I said, yeah, put me working with him. I want to see why he doesn't like me. And I was put working with him, and we had a great day. I really got on well with him. I thought he was a lovely guy. And he obviously seen a different side of me, because his projections, I just got rid of them in that little interaction. Then when we started working together, it was like, oh yeah, I'm not that person you thought I was. And that's what happens. That's actually what we do. We project onto other people things we've seen in others in the past. And that's someone that was outwardly projecting onto me. But I was in a group a few years ago, and one man turned into the group late, and had met him before again, and he walked into the room and he was red in the face, and it was after raining outside, and he seemed very stressed, but he was red in the face and he looked angry to me, and he sat beside me, and I immediately felt nauseous and sick and very, very uncomfortable. And I immediately didn't like him. And I couldn't figure out why I didn't like him. But thankfully I was on this journey to become a psychotherapist, and I was able to look at that in myself and say, why do I not like that man? So I basically confronted him very gently. I just said, listen, in my own way, I said, I don't know what it is that's happening in me, but for some reason I don't like you. And I was able to access a deeper part and look at the person who I actually didn't like. And by bringing that out and him holding that, which was very generous of him, that he was like, okay, let's hear about it. And I was able to go deeper in myself and look at, well, this is why I'm projecting onto you. It was a very negative experience in my past where a very angry older man had to come in and really made me feel very, very small and insignificant and helpless. So that was my projections, and it was lovely. It was uncomfortable, but it was lovely at the same time to be able to notice that in myself. So when we're in our normal day, every single day of your life, what you do is you project onto other people what you think of them. And if you go back to what I'd said earlier about the cardboard cutout piece, that we don't know other people, we need to kind of get to know them, and we talk about people as if they are, but they're not. We are projecting all the time. We're putting our stuff, our negative feelings, our negative stuff onto them. So for example, if I for example think I'm stupid, if I think I'm really, I'm not intelligent enough, and I'm no good, I'm not able to do anything, I might not like somebody else because I think that they think I'm stupid and I'm not. He thinks I'm stupid. He thinks I'm worth nothing. I think I'm worthless, when it's actually not true. If you just turn around and talk to the person, that it's just this, it's a completely different experience. So we do tend to project the stuff that's in us at the moment. I don't feel clean, and then say they all think I'm smelly. They're all looking at me. Did you ever get that? So, or I'm not a good enough dad. They think I'm a terrible dad, or So there's lots all the time moving around us, in us, and all this, and it's a lot to do with our experience and what we were told. And again, going back again to our interjected values, how we were educated and how we see ourselves in the world because of that education. And it's just about accessing that part and noticing that if I don't like that person, it's absolutely nothing got to do with the person. If you don't like me, strangely, and this is the thing, I've had people hate me, hate me, based on something someone else told them. And it's interesting because when I hear back what was told, I'm like, that's really interesting, because that never happened. I don't know where that came from. You're entitled to hate me, but if you're going to hate me, I really appreciate if you come and get to know me first. If you get to know me, then think, I hate that flick. Well, then it's justified, absolutely justified. But if it's, I hate that person because of ABC, whatever this kind of thing, and I've heard people in conversation, and it's happened to me so often, where someone's in conversation with me and they'd say to me, I really hate that fella. And that fella who they mentioned happens to be a friend of mine. And I will jump in and say, well, hold on, that's simply not true. That fella's actually a really nice bloke. And particularly in one instance, I feel that fella saved my life. If you remember the earlier videos, someone who came to me and said, took me out of myself to help me and bring me back to the reality, the real world. So, people are so complex that you knowing them on a Monday at 9 o'clock to 9:05 is not going to teach you everything you need to know about them. Everything you think you know about them is your projections. It's I don't like them because they're too arrogant. There's something in me, I don't want to ever be seen as arrogant. So I might project onto someone, just they're so arrogant, they're so up their own. And that's one of the things I really struggled with. In my previous job, if I saw someone kind of, this swagger, this confident swagger, I really struggled with that idea that just they think they're so great, and holding that and saying, no, that's my own stuff. I am so afraid of being perceived as arrogant that I see that person as being arrogant. So if you can just look at yourself and see what assumptions you make of other people based on what you project onto them, and then maybe look at them and see if you can see them who they really are. And I really feel that will help you. Hope that wasn't too much nonsense again, but thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.